And welcome back to MTGRBD. I'm your host, MP Numbers, and I'd rather be drafting. But right now, I am joined by two of my buddies to talk about Magic. We've got Food Time.
Hello, how's everyone doing?
And we've also got Des Mags.
The person that asked the dumb questions is here. Yeah, baby.
He certainly is. Alright guys, this week M21 is in full swing. I'm sure we've all done at least a couple of drafts. So we're going to break it down and we're going to talk about the archetypes, the colour pairs, some cards that have stood out to us, kind of like what we did last week, but less structured and more just chatting. Sound good?
Yeah, man, sounds like a plan.
Awesome. Well, as we have been doing for quite a few episodes now, we're going to crack a pack first. I've still got one of these packs from my pre-release kit from last week. Let's have a look and see what we'd take if we were opening this in a draft.
Oh man, I like that. It's kind of like this ASMR of opening a pack, but just because I'm in lockdown right now, and oh my god, it is just nice to hear that rustling of a packet for me.
All right, we'll start with our land. We've got a Windscarred Crag, the red-white land, common, whatever. The rest of the commons, we've got Life Goes On, which is green to gain 4 life. If a creature died this turn, you get 8 life instead.
Don't ever take that card ever in any circumstance ever.
Yeah, it's literal trash. Like, even the edge case of it having life gain does not matter for the colours that it's in. Like,
yeah,
it's quite terrible. Moving on, we've got Gale Swoop. Gale Swooper is 3 and a white for a 3/2 with flying. When it enters the battlefield, target creature gains flying until the end of turn. Actually, not a bad card. Like it doesn't seem great. It didn't really seem great when I was looking at it before either. But with the format, and we'll talk a little bit more as we go. The format seems to be more aggressive, and having just this 1 of 4 drop that gives a creature evasion could just be your topper in a white based deck. Yeah, so it's a fun card, right?
Yeah.
We've got Sky Scanner, which is a colourless 3-drop to 1/1 flying. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Kind of underwhelming so far.
Yeah, that's like a late pick in the draw an extra card every turn deck. So.
Yeah. Goblin Arsonist. I've sat down against a lot of Goblin Arsonist. It's a 1-mana 1/1 that when it dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. What do you guys think about the Arsonist at the moment?
I've seen it pop up a little bit actually. Like I've been watching a few Twitch guys do it and stuff like that, and I don't know. People, from what I've seen, people just seem to play them, and just kind of throw them out there. But they actually seem like they're great. Like for blockers, for little things like that. I've seen them actually used in the early game quite well, considering. Like I don't think they're amazing, and I don't think they're going to break the format. I don't think they're going to be massive. But there's a couple of streamers that I was watching. And for early game stuff, they're just kind of a bit of fun.
Fair. Alright, we've also got Rousing Reed, which is 2 and a blue for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards, discard a card. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and flying. Not a bad little enhancement card, but I don't think we're taking it early. Next card, probably my pick so far, we've got Rise Again. Rise Again, 4 and a black sorcery. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield.
I love reanimators, so I'm already down for this.
Yes, now, do you love it just because you love it, or do you think it's a good deck in this format?
I don't think I've played enough to know if it's super good, but I like reanimators, so I'll probably just play it anyways, even if it's bad.
Fair. We've got a Snare Spinner, which is 1 and a green for a 1/3 reach. When it blocks a creature with flying, it's +2/+0 until end of turn. It's fine.
It's not bad.
Keen Glide Master is a 2-mana 2/1 for 2 and a blue. Target creature gains flying until end of turn. Another card that's done a little bit better than I expected. It can kind of sit in random blue decks and help you get a bit of evasion to get your beta through when you're ready to start winning the game.
Yeah, I've seen it in a couple of the blue-green decks when they get their their lower scale coatl up with a bunch of counters, and then they just give it flying and kill you.
Yeah, for sure. Staunch Shieldmate, sorry. Speaking of cards that are overperforming, this is white for a 1/3 with no text. Again, briefly talked about it with the other one. The white decks are getting aggressive, and random 1/3s that don't just trade with other 1/1s and can get some damage in and maybe pick up some counters along the way are pretty handy in those decks.
Yeah, he's got a large booty, that's for sure.
He's a booty boy. Bone Print Brute for a red for a 4/5 with Menace, and when he enters the battlefield, target creature gets +4/+0 till end of turn. Yeah. We do have the goodest boy, the Selfless Savior, another 1/1 for white. It is a doggo. You sacrifice it whenever. Sorry, no, let's start again. Sacrifice Selfless Savior, another target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn.
Ah, look, a 1/1 dog with no abilities.
Actually, really good card. I think we kind of knew it all anyway. Obviously, the joke that we're never going to sacrifice it, but you do sacrifice it, and it does do some good work keeping your biggest creatures alive.
Yeah, super strong actually.
Yeah, you could get past that. Oh no, I'm killing my puppy dog feel. We
You
have
get
a
over it real
Sanctum.
quick. It's okay.
You do. When you're 6 days alive and wins you the game, you can't get over it.
Yeah.
We have a Sanctum, the Black Sanctum of Stone Fangs. It's 1 and a black. It's an enchantment, legendary enchantment shrine. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of shrines you control. I don't think I've seen any shrines in play or in decks yet.
I haven't seen a single one. It's weird.
I lost to a shrine deck, but I think the person just got really lucky. And that I'm bad.
Could be part of it. Was it a shrine deck with all 5 colours, or?
I think he only played like 3 colors. We only had 2 shrines out, so I don't know.
Yep. Direfleet Warmonger is the black-red uncommon. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, Direfleet Warmonger gets +2/+2 against trample end of turn. Hasn't been against Super. This comes down to probably the black-red deck just not doing much so far. Yeah, it definitely doesn't have the impact some of the other decks or some of the other golden commons do.
Mm-hmm.
And our rare,
Show it.
we've got Liliana's Standard Bearer. It is 2 and a black for a zombie knight with flash, and when it enters the battlefield, draw X cards, where X is the number of creatures that died under your control this turn. It's a 3/1.
It's not bad. I'll probably take
It's
it.
not bad. It's not mind-blowingly great like some of the rares that we see, right? Like it's 3 mana 3/1, maybe with flash.
Maybe.
Sure, makes it worth it.
Maybe
Yeah,
we can
worst
open
it's a
another
comp.
pack with some better cards.
Well, we'll save the other packs till maybe next week. Yeah, like I guess the worst case of this is it's a 3/1 that you can play at instant speed that draws you no cards if no creatures died. That I wouldn't want to ever do.
Yeah, I mean, you might have to like kill a creature or something.
Yeah,
Like
for
at
sure.
worst, it's a removal spell. At best, it's a 3/1 that draws you cards. So
Yeah, so pretty much we'll put that one aside. The other 2 I've got aside is obviously the Goodest Boy. I actually wouldn't mind picking that first. The Selfless Savior, we should say. And of course, Rise Again is a card that I would never be unhappy to pick up, even early.
for sure. So if you want to watch more packs be opened, by the way, I did open a booster box on my stream today. So go to my Twitch VODs and watch that.
There you
What's
go.
up?
That's twitch.tv/foodtime.
Yes, that is accurate.
Yeah, definitely go check it out. Lots of packs, and I'm sure you talked about draft choices for all those packs, right?
Yeah, totally, 100% now, dude. We talked about Commander, of course.
Okay, Commander. Yeah, sure.
Did-
All right. Now, before we get into, sorry, Des.
Question: did you open a peer into the abyss that we can send numbers?
No, I did not, unfortunately.
Oh,
Otherwise, I would have already shown it to him and cringed him out.
Yeah, no, thank you. Now, before we get too much into, I said our main topic this week is going to be the archetypes of M21. The color pairings, what they do, the cards that help you do what you're trying to do. I wanted to have a bit of a chat with you guys, and this is like I haven't set you up for, but about, I don't know if the word's burnout, but I think burnout will describe what I'm trying to say. How do you guys feel about Magic right now? Are you actively playing? Are you happily playing? Where are you guys at?
Maybe food time. You're probably better to answer this right now.
I mean,
Yeah.
I just play Commander all the time. Like, yeah, I'm playing as much as I can, which is as much as I've always have. So, like, I'm chill right now. You know, like I said, I just play Commander with friends, with chill people. Doing it online via webcams is not that hard once you find some people to play with. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you're still actively looking to play, every day or every couple of days, and still get involved with it, with all the new cards and everything.
Yeah, for sure, all the time. Like I'm building decks all the time. I just built 2 Commander decks the other night.
Cool. And Des, like I know you've never been a fanatic like me, myself and Food Time claim to be, but where are you at right now?
I mean, at the moment, I don't know. Like, right now, I'm kind of, I guess, I don't know what's the right way, but not burnt out, but I'm kind of confused because I feel like it was only like a couple of days or weeks ago that we got one set, and I was kind of getting to learn those cards, and now all of a sudden we've got another one here already. So, I mean, for me, I'm still wanting to play draft of that to get a little bit better at that before I start on this, but I mean, yeah, at the moment I am feeling a little bit overwhelmed by almost. I mean, it kind of feels like I've got 2 sets in a matter of like a month and a half. So I don't think
Yeah.
burnt out's the right way, but maybe overwhelmed a little bit because I feel like I only just started getting into the other set, and then this set's already out.
No,
But
like I get where you're coming from. We went through this whole thing where Ikoria wasn't released, and then all of a sudden it was available, and then 3 weeks later, M21's available, and it's definitely interesting. And I guess for you as well, Des, you've never been. I said you've never been hardcore. You've never been watching
no,
every card as they come out, playing on day one, and you've always been more of a casual observer and player.
yeah, for
And now we've
sure.
kind of pulled you into this world where we're telling you to keep track of it every week and maybe getting a bit more involved than you would have otherwise. Yeah.
Like it's actually been nice. Like I won't lie, it's kind of brought that passion back. Being that, yeah, as I said, I was a lot more casual player, and if, for example, if numbers messaged me like say and just went, oh, I've got a draft, do you want to sit in on it, or there's a free draft happening right now, do you want to play? I'd probably sit down and play. Where now I feel like I'm more actively following a lot more MTG creators on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube just to see what they're doing as well. And I am actually trying to get a lot more, and it's not trying to get a lot more interested, but I'm getting more interested in it just by doing this podcast. So it's actually been nice. But I got to admit though, with these 2 sets seeming or feeling like they've come out like 4 to 6 weeks apart, it really has kind of been a bit overwhelming. And as a new player, you're kind of like, sweet, I'm learning these cards, and then before you know it, there's a new set that's come out with all these other cards. So I don't know, like it's kind of been nice because it's brought back my passion, but in a way also it's kind of been a little bit overwhelming as well because I'm like, sweet, I'm getting more into it. I'm starting to understand the meta more. I'm starting to try to figure out what cards are good and what not based on this podcast and based on obviously watching content creators. And then I'm still trying to get my head around a few cards here and there and liking certain things. And then all of a sudden I've got this new set which has just changed everything. So I don't know. I think right now the best way to put it is I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed more than anything.
Cool.
Yeah.
I actually have a follow-up question. How do you feel about the next set, Zendikar Rising, coming out in September, in 2 months?
Oh, you serious? I didn't even. Oh my god. I got no chance, man. I'm never keeping up. Really? Is it 2 months already? Far out. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably at the end of the month, so it's closer to like 3 months, like maybe 2.5 months.
That's super quick though. Like it just seems to be like bang, bang, bang. Like yeah, I don't know. It's bizarre. I don't understand why they. I get that we're all in quarantine and it's great because they can release it on Magic Online or on Arena, but I gotta admit though, it's feeling like, especially for like, I mean, you guys are probably loving it because there's so many new cards. There's all these things to dive into. There's the meta changing. But for somebody that's a little bit more new, I'm like, Jesus Christ, it takes me at least a month and a half, just to 8, to sometimes 2 months, just to get my head around everything and figure out where I want to sit or what I want to play. And then by the time I've done that, I've already got a new set that's changed everything. So far out, I didn't even know there was a new set coming out that quickly.
Well, the thing is, this isn't quick. This is the normal life cycle. 3 months is the normal life cycle for any format.
Yeah.
I think the world we're living in makes it seem faster.
Yeah,
But
and I think probably also
yeah,
because I'm overwhelmed by having these two sets in such a quick thingo, I'm like, crap, I'm still learning one and I'm trying to learn a second, and now a third one's coming out. So I think it might have more to do with the overwhelmingness of that rather than everything.
for sure. Well, the reason I asked my original question is I was curious because I am kind of getting to that point. I think most Magic players do it where, like, I love Magic, but I'm just not that interested in playing Magic right now, if that makes sense. Like this podcast is the biggest thing I do for Magic. Like I specifically went on over the weekend, did some drafts so that I would have something to talk about for the podcast. I haven't been streaming, I haven't been making videos. I don't know if it's. I mean, it could be like you're saying. There is a bit of overwhelm because it does feel like Ikoria came out yesterday and M21 showed up today. It could also be because I'm not winning as much with these new sets as I used to, and we've talked about in previous podcasts how I do tend to
Rage
out a
quit.
little bit. Yeah, and I was thinking about this the other day. Like I don't want to be the person that only likes something when they're winning, but I think I might be. Because like you guys on my stream, you guys know we've been friends for a while, and there's been some days where literally I will log on every single day, do 2 or 3 drafts. I'll stream for 3 or 4 hours a day doing those drafts, usually winning, or not usually winning. That sounds very, but like having a positive record rather than 0-3ing out and just being like, well, whatever, I'm done. Every weekend until we start doing this podcast, every weekend I'd be like, all right, well, it's Saturday night, I'm going to record a video, I'm going to get this video out. But yeah, I don't know if I'm not feeling it. Like I said, I don't dislike Magic, but at the moment, especially the time I tried to stream, Des, you were there. I jumped on, I built what I thought was an okay deck, I got thrashed, and I just didn't have it in me to draft again. Like, I was like, stuff, I'm going to play a different game, turn off stream and play a different game, go to bed.
I know,
I don't know.
I say this with love, but in all honesty, and please don't take this the wrong way, but this is probably one of the worst I've actually seen you play, or the worst record I've seen you had of almost any set. These last 2 sets,
Absolutely.
for me, watching you play, like, and it's weird because you see the draft, you talk through the draft, and I'm like, okay, he's got good cards or he's got good points. But this is probably the worst I've seen you actually not play, but the way you've lost. Like, normally you're at least about a 60-40 to 70-30 kind of win rate, where this one has been kind of like horrible for you. And what's weird too, though, is you seem to understand the cards, you seem to know the cards, you seem to have good decks, but sometimes I don't know what it is. It just seems like you've had the worst luck with these last 2 sets, and I say that with love.
Yeah.
So
No, you're absolutely right, and I don't want to be the guy that says, well, it's just bad luck and I drew over my lands and I lose, because I play enough that you can rule out bad luck as a variant. If you like, obviously it exists, but I've done probably 7 drafts of this set, and I've gone 0-3 or 1-3 multiple times in the best of 1 queues, and like it's too much to be able to say, well, I drew badly and I lost. But it definitely comes down to that, and that's kind of where it gets me, because before, like, going back when I first started streaming, 4 years ago now, it was Shadows over Innistrad or Eldritch Moon, and in those sets I had like a 80+% win rate, and that's why I started streaming, because I was winning and I was able to show off, this is what I'm doing to get my wins. But now, that's the other thing, I guess content creation is the other side of it, as well as just Magic. Like, the reason I'm not jumping on stream now is because I know that the attitude I'm bringing to it is not going to be worth people watching. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be like, oh, well, I drafted the best and I lost again, so what's the bloody point? Yeah. Like, I'm not saying this is in, I'm quitting or anything, but I just think it's interesting to kind of put your thoughts out there,
I'm not saying I'm quitting, but just so you know, guys, I officially quit. No.
Yeah, you can get Jordan in now. But,
Jordan, you heard it.
yeah,
Come on, man. Come on. Just.
And I will say, like, I completely acknowledge that quitting not quitting, but stopping playing Magic is a natural part of the Magic player life cycle. Like I've done it before. I through Eventide, the last Lorwyn set through to Return to Ravnica, I basically didn't play at all. That's a good couple of years stretch. But ever since then, I've been pretty much non-stop, and maybe it is maybe it is due for a play less period. I don't know. I don't know. Futon, you've been pretty quiet. What are your thoughts?
No, yeah, like definitely don't burn yourself out on a game. Like there's so many games to play. There's so much time. Like just play something else for a little while. It's like not a big deal, you know.
And
like,
not being biased, but
Magical...
Shadowlands is coming out. Just saying.
Yeah, it's probably not actually dropping till December, so you got some time.
I want to play Shadow. I want to play more WoW. Just leave me be.
We'll get an announcement within the next couple of days for sure, I feel. So no worries. I feel it. No worries. Okay. We'll get an announcement soon. All right. Now back to Magic. Back to what really matters.
This week on the Rather Be Raiden podcast.
Oh, dude, let's go.
No, look, that stuff me whinging about losing, and I just thought it'd be interesting to share. I'd love to hear if there are any listeners out there. I thought maybe it's the sets, maybe it's the thing, but I guess it's probably just me more than anything. The fact that I don't play other formats like Commander, maybe. Anyway. Let's talk about drafting in M21. Now, let's preface this, as we like to do, saying we're not pros. We're three guys who have varied levels of Magic playing within us. We're not going to be teaching you absolute level ups to get you from 0 to hero. We're going to maybe give you some things to think about and just explain how we think about the game. So, in saying that, as always, there are 10 colour pairs in Magic, and generally the draft archetypes will break down to have different ways of playing each of those colour pairs. So, let's go through them. So, in M21, let's start with white-blue. White-blue in M21 draft is a Flyers Matters deck. Generally, to build this deck, you want to play white and blue cards that have flying, that have evasion. It's going to be a fast deck, so you really want to be curving out well into two and three drops onwards, and then playing removal spells to take out your opponent's creatures. Right, like the key card is the gold uncommon for this one, which is Watcher of the Spheres. Makes all your flyers cost one less, and has an ability that makes it bigger based off the other creatures you have in play. As to how good this deck is, I haven't had a chance to play with or against it yet. Futo, what about you?
I've lost to it, so I think it's pretty good.
Did it feel real bad?
It felt pretty bad when you don't have any way to kill flyers, but I've also been playing best of one. I feel like most of the colors, like especially green, has enough ways to deal with this deck that it's probably better in best of one than best of three.
Yeah, I was just trying to think what do they have to do with it, because there's no plummets in this set. There is the sacrifice a flying creature, right? What else do they have?
The spider with reach.
The spider, yeah, for sure. That is something worth saying. I think it is, as an overview, this format does seem to be better as an aggressive format. Getting overall better creatures into play, doing things, but that could reflect the best of one nature. Even though best of three is available, most people are still playing best of one. I think it's like a 70-30 split. And so that could definitely reflect the way people are seeing it, just the way that you can do it. All right, Food Time, talk to me about blue-black.
So blue-black is the reanimation / like kind of card draw themed colors, as blue-black usually kind of does, right? So it's kind of slower. It's more of a control theme. You run your counter spells. You're trying to grind out value in the late game. So you're playing like Rise Again, Reign of Revelation, which is the draw discard card, and the blue uncommon I've seen is really good too. That I don't remember the Stitcher. I don't remember the name of. Those you bring, like, sack it and bring a creature back. Those cards are really good. But yeah, again, it's an aggressive format, so you probably better in best of three. I should probably play that and like figure that out. But definitely, if you get the right cards, if you can get some good stuff in your graveyard, could be very good.
Yeah, for sure. I think one thing that could be missing, there's a couple of discard outlets, but there's no recurring discard outlets that I can see. If you know what I mean, like, there's nothing that lets you continuously discard cards to bring them back from the graveyard.
Yeah, it's not like Ikoria Graveyard Synergy where it's like really strong. It's more of like a little sub theme that you can do if you're already like putting cards in your graveyard.
Yeah, for sure. The blue black also seems to have some overlap with the blue green. A lot of like the blue, or a few of the blue cards have the when you draw more than one card, and those cards can come in here in these decks because you're just playing like random revelation stuff anyway. You're going to get some value just by drawing multiple cards from your deck, right?
Yeah, a lot of the cards on the side are built that way though, so they work with a multitude of the strategies you're trying to do.
Yeah, for sure. I don't complain. This deck, I don't know if it seems great, as you've said. Like we've played best of one. It's not a fast deck, and you do need time to build up your board, to stabilize, to get control. I'm not complaining. I think it's pretty clear for anyone who's talked to me for more than 10 minutes that I don't like blue-black decks that control the board and don't let you have any fun, so I'm not too upset if this deck isn't a main player in this format for once.
Yeah.
Cool. Moving on to the next pair we look at is black and red. Now, this one, we talked about this before, it looks like they're doing Sacrifice as the theme again, and they've done this quite a bit lately. Like black-red seems to be the go-to theme. Sorry, Sacrifice seems to be the go-to theme for black-red, and it's just never quite enough, because if they make it, like, there's no happy medium. It's either not good enough or way too bloody good. I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it be.
Yeah, because you can look at it and you can say, oh, well, it could have this, this, and this. Because at the moment, like, there's one active treason style card, which is uncommon, which really sucks. And then you're really just sacrificing your own creatures, which if you're doing that to jump forward into a second move, black green is the color that really wants you sacrificing your own creatures for value. But then you think, oh well, if it had like another good active trees and another good repeatable sacrifice outlet, then it'd be better. But then it'd probably be too good, and that's a problem. Like the uncommon for this one, the black red, the pirate, which we got in our cracker pack, is very replaceable. It's very unexciting. All right, Des, let's talk about red-green. What do you think about red-green?
I like red-green, but you know that because I just like big boys that just burn stuff. And this is pretty much what this deck is all about. It is just a whole heap of green big boys, a whole heap of red, either little boys or burn spells that just kind of tries to own the board. I do feel like when I've seen this played that it does seem a little bit slow for my liking, or a little bit slow for this set. But one card that we seem to miss that I'm like kind of like super excited about and just think is a lot better than we ever thought it was is actually a common, which is Drowsing Pteranodon. So this is a defender. So it's a 1 and a green. It's a defender. As long as you control creatures with with power 4 or greater, it can attack as though it doesn't have defender, and it's a 3/3. So you can get this out by. I've seen a few people where they drop this by turn 2, just defend these little boys that are coming out, and then by turn 4 or 5, all of a sudden they've got this attacker that's kind of cool. And yeah, like this is the kind of deck that I like to play, where it's not super fast, but it's not super slow. It has some big power, but I don't know how good it's going to be in this set, because I just feel like it might be a bit slow. Like as you've said, it is a lot more of an aggressive deck. But if you can get enough burn spells and keep it under control, I think the big boys could run over it. So this is one of those ones that I'm sitting on the fence, whether it's a good deck or whether it's not such a good deck. So I don't know. I don't know how you guys have felt it, but this is probably more my playstyle. This kind of one.
Yeah, for sure. I think you're right. We definitely missed the Pteranodon when we were talking about the high power green commons last week. Like I kind of disregarded it, but like I said, you play it on turn 2, and even sometimes you live the dream of turn 3 playing the Certessid training and giving it 4 power, and then it's just able to attack straight away. Like as I said, you really want to hold the board with removal spells, Scorching Dragonfire and Shock are actually pretty, Scorching Dragonfire obviously, but Shock surprisingly quite high value in this format, just because it stops your opponents from getting their little guys into play, and then you can really just start ramping up and playing like, Colossal Dreadmore and friends at the top end to really get through. Probably one of the key cards with this is that Garruk's Uprising, like just getting some super high value from the Uprising.
Even the Visionary, what is it, that Elf Druid Visionary? I found that just to come in third, add some mana, and also be a 2/2, just means that people can't just ping it, and if they chump block it, they're going to lose. And I just feel like that just adds that little bit. Like it's not amazing, but it's just kind of handy as well to have in there. But yeah, I do think that if you can get the removal right, and then you can get the big boys out there quick and ramp up into stuff, it's kind of my favourite way to play.
Definitely. Hopefully once the format settles down, it'll be a bit more viable and people just stop throwing 2-drops at your face every turn.
Yeah.
Cool. Moving on. The last of the allied colour pairs is green-white. Green-white is a +1/+1 counters matters archetype. Basically, you want your creature, and it is a more aggressive format, kind of like white-red traditionally is, where you want to be curving out with your 2 and your 3 drops, playing cards that can enhance them, putting +1/+1 counters on them, playing cards that create tokens, playing cards that just kind of get bigger over time, just being able to continuously attack and deal with your opponent's life total handily. Drowsing Pteranodon comes in this one as well as an MVP. Like the downside of Drowsing Pteranodon is that kind of every green deck wants it because it is so good. And then also Basri's Acolyte, which just seems to be an absolute powerhouse. It's 2 white for a 2/3. When it enters the battlefield, you can put a +1/+1 counter on up to 2 other creatures. If you curve out 2-drop, like if you curve out Pteranodon into any 3-drop, and then put this on turn 4, you're just going to be getting in face damage, and it's going to be hard for your opponent to interact. It might be my favourite format. It might be an early runner for top 2, top 3 best archetypes in the format. But you should see how it
big call,
rolls
big
out.
Call.
This one more than any probably doesn't really need removal, which is cool. Like, because you end up just getting creatures that are so big, you don't need to worry about it. Because we talked a lot in last week about how the white removal is really bad. Green gets the hunt the week, whatever the variant is, but you don't need it because you just play creatures instead and just get your guys bigger and bigger. This is the kind of deck, as we were talking about earlier, that can really benefit from having, well, not benefit, but it comes in handy to have that 4-drop that gives a creature flying, because you just get your one real big creature and then just fly it into their face to win the game. I really like playing the green white deck. It's pretty cool.
I got to admit though, the Drowsing Pteranodon has kind of been a bit of an unsung hero, and now imagine that you can now use it in things like Pauper and stuff like that. Like this is the sort of thing I love about Magic, is when you have a card that on the surface you might not seem is amazing or might not seem super powerful, but then you play it a few times and you're just like, wow, this game is a lot better or this card is a lot better than what I expected. And at common, I feel like this is going to maybe even become something that Pauper starts to use quite regularly as well. Hopefully.
It's definitely not impossible. I guess none of us know enough about Pauper, even though we've looked into it. But it'd be interesting to see if it's more powerful than other green commons that we have available already, for sure. All right, food time. Talk to me about white black.
So yeah, white black's the life gain color theme this time around, which is pretty cool. So as long as you can outpace the early damage from the aggressive decks with your life gain, you should be fine. So it's got cards like Indulging Partition, so 3 mana 1/4 for 1 white and a black with flying and lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, each opponent loses 3 life. And there's a whole bunch of cards in this set that care about you gaining 3 or more life, and then they get an effect. And there's a zombie that comes back from the graveyard, and all kinds of just stuff, right? And Sanguine Indulgence costs 3 less to cast if you gain 3 less or life. 3 or more life this turn. Return 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. So all kinds of effects in there. Deck just kind of builds itself. Veto Thorn of the Duskgraves is a good rare to pick here. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life on a 3-mana 1/3. And for 5, you give all your creatures lifelink until end of turn. It's a big bomb. Big bomby boy right there.
For sure. I gotta be honest, I'm still yet to see a good version of a white-black deck. Like I've seen also of a white-black life gain deck. I've seen a few people just doing like white-black, coming back to the format, white-black aggressive creatures that just, it'll gain a little bit of life here and there, but that's not its focus, you know what I mean?
Yeah, especially in Best of 1, I can see people just drafting aggressively. It makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of aggressive cards in both those colors as well. So yeah, Black-Green is the sacrifice/dying matters, kind of like Black-Red, but probably I'd say a little bit better. Because it's more like token-based, I want to say. Bit more value, bit more card draw, Green just generally being better than red, like it do. So you got like Duskspore Thallid, that's the reprint from Dominaria. It's when it dies, makes 1/1 Saproling. It's a 3-mana 3/2, so pure value there. Rise Again, of course, gonna bring back all your big monsters that die. Pretty classic green black, like Golgari-esque stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Again, there's quite a bit of overlap between green black and blue black. I think, like just obviously black. Just trying to get stuff into your graveyard. You can obviously play around with Rise Again and to bring stuff back from the graveyard, which is nice. And then you get some benefits from the green cards that care about things dying, which is cool.
Yeah, a good card for all 3 of these strategies actually is Arching Vessel. It's a 1-mana 1/1 human cleric with lifelink, and when it enters the battlefield, if it entered from the graveyard or if you cast it from your graveyard, exile it. If you do, create a 5/5 black demon creature token with flying. So I mean, it's got lifelink, so if you pump it up, you're good for the lifelink deck. It helps against those aggressive decks early with the lifelink. And then if you get it back, you just get a 5/5 flying demon. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Strong card.
Sure. Yeah, I had one deck where I tried to do it, but I never drew the two of them. I never drew the 1/1 and Rise Again together, so it never happened. All right, Des, talk to me about green blue.
Okay, so green blue. I don't know if this set seems kind of very slow. I feel like for me. It just seems to be, so it is a sort of more of a card draw deck, and I don't know, it has some, I don't know, I don't know how I feel about it, just mainly because I'm really bad with blue, but it does allow you to use the Bungslung, as I so eloquently put it, which is my little snake. So whenever you draw a card, you may put a +1/+1 counter on the Bungslung, but yeah, I don't know. So it's a law scale. What is it? Coddle?
Coatl.
Yeah.
Coatl?
Yeah. I like Boomslung. Boomslung's so much easier to pronounce, so I'm just going to call that. So yeah, so it allows you to draw a card. It says whenever you draw a card, you may put a +1/+1. So this thing is going to get big really quick. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I just feel like it's a bit slow. I can't imagine it seeing a whole heap of play. Yeah, I'm just not sure. I don't know.
There's definitely some support for it. Like the Coatl itself, it reads what you want, what this archetype wants to do. Draw extra cards, get minor advantage, end up kind of pushing your way up and hopefully winning the game. There's a couple of other cards. I don't know the name of it, but there's a blue 3/3 that whenever you draw 2 or more cards, it is unblockable this turn. Or there's a couple of the tree folk which care about drawing extra cards. So it's supported, and obviously overlapping with the blue-black as well is cards that whenever they help you draw cards, like your Rain of Revelation, your Ops, other cards that just say draw cards on them, which are a good value by themselves. But yeah, it comes down to that you need to get to the mid-game, you need to play the creature that you want to get better, then you need to be able to also have the draw cards in hand. So I don't know if it's great. I've tried it a couple of times, it's never been great, but it's also never been terrible. I think it's just another one afflicted by this issue of aggro being good in this format, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Second to last. We're kind of burning through these a lot faster than I thought we were going to. Blue-red. Now, blue-red, it's probably going to be the best colour combination this time around. You can play it two ways. You can really play an aggressive deck. Either way, it's going to be spells matters. You're going to play a really aggressive deck or a slow deck that kind of builds advantage up and can survive through an aggressive opener. You've got cards like the Spellgorger Weird, which is a 2/2 for 3. It's a red card reprint from Ravnica sets. Whenever you play a non-creature spell, it gets +1/+1 counter on it. You've also got the Experimental Overload, the gold card, probably the best gold card of the cycle. Off the top of my head, you can return you create an XX creature, where X is the number of instants and/or sorceries in your graveyard, and then you can return an instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. So it's value plus value. It's just really solid. Basically, you want to get these spells that, or the creatures, the cards that really benefit from casting spells. You got the Spellgorger Weird. There's also the cards. I can't remember the enchantment. For 1 in the blue, it becomes a 3/3 whenever you cast a non-creature spell. Beautiful card. And yeah, you just kind of getting value either by beating aggressively, playing your creatures early and dropping cheap spells to attack, or by playing your creatures and using your spells reactionary to kind of keep yourself alive, maybe counter their spells, maybe burn their creatures out to make your creatures bigger as well, so you're just kind of adding value to your value spells. But yeah, I think there's probably a good chance that blue-red is going to be the best colour combination when this is all settled in the dust.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I do feel like blue-red or even red-green could possibly be some of them, but I just feel like, yeah. But I actually must admit, I do like this set in regards to the fact that it's going to be more aggro. Because I do think that sometimes a quicker game is sometimes a better game. I know for me, because I've played games that have dragged out, like I played against blue decks where I'm just like, okay, cool, so they've just called 10 minutes to go and we're still on turn 1. And it frustrates me to high heaven because I'm like, I would much rather play 5 or 6 rounds, lose, move on to the next one, and just have fun. Some of these games I do feel like get dragged out, and whenever I see a slow deck, I'm just like, I don't want to play this. So
I think there's a difference there between games that take a while, but you're trading back and forth. Most turns matter. You kind of both players are waiting for a good card. It's not going to be a game-winning bomb, but a good card that can help them advance their board. And then the ongoing games, because one player is just like counter that, that. The other player's just sitting there getting bored because they can't do anything. I hate those ones, but I love the first one. They're the best.
Oh no, if we're trading back and forth and we're actually just playing good cards that are countering up, and we literally it's an actual battle, fine with. But it's just some of those ones that I just don't like, where they're slow decks and they just take forever to wind up, and all they're doing is either countering or they're just I don't know, just like pandering their way through it, just like, oh, I'll just do this and I'll just do this and I'll just draw it out. Oh, now I'm going to get a couple of bombs and then finish it. I'm just like, oh, I just can't deal with those. I know I shouldn't say that, but to me, it's just like, oh.
All right, Futo, I know you want to talk about red-white to finish us off. How do you feel about red-white in this format?
Woof, 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 woof. Woof, woof, woof.
Couldn't agree more.
Indeed.
It's doggo aggro. It's so good. It's aggro format. You get dogs, you get aggro. What is there not to talk about? And then the gold card is literally just like, hey, tutor 2 dogs to your hand. How are you not going to play this deck every time you're it's open? You know what I mean?
It's like an unwritten rule that if you get that gold card, you have to take the other 2 dogs just automatic. You have to pick them over anything else in the pack if they show up, right?
You have to pick 2 of them.
Yeah, yeah, two of each, I mean.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
With this deck here, is this more just a red deck where you splash white for 2 or 3 cards, or is this a genuine actually red-white deck?
It depends on how many dogs you get.
Depends on which dogs. Yeah, I think the average deck of a red-white will be a red deck with some white cards in it, because the big thing there is because Scorching Dragonfire and Soulseer, the uncommon, are so good because they clear the way for all your creatures. You want to make sure you're having as many of those as you can. A lot of your aggressive dogs, like the Bolt Hound, is going to be red, but there are a few good red cards in. One of the dogs named in the gold card, which I don't have in front of me, so I couldn't tell you what they are, is white. So if you want to play that to full value, you need to have that.
Is that
there's a couple of other doggos in there.
Is that the Alpine
Watchdog?
Horde Hound? Or
Alpine Watchdog and Igneous Cur.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Yeah, the Vigilance 2/2.
Yeah, so and the cards themselves, it's a 2/2 Vigilance for 2. It's not great, right? But when you're curving out perfectly, when you're getting the nutso, it's a great format. It's one of the ones where I haven't had it yet, but I kind of hope I'm at the point where I kind of want to force it just to see what happens, and hopefully it all works out. But I don't know. It's
important thing is that there's a rare that gives your dogs +1/+1 and some other text where it prevents damage to the dogs when they attack. It's that's why you're running white. There's a couple other dogs too, so
for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. So that is our archetype breakdown, and I think that the takeaway, at least from these three average guys, is that if you're going to be drafting this format at the moment, probably push towards being aggressive. Try and avoid going into your blue-black slow control or your green-black cast big things and then recast them again, because it can work. I'm not saying it will never work, but you're more likely to match up better with your opponents if you're curving out 2, 3, 4 and burn spells to back up, right?
Yeah, this is definitely a pound the face as quickly as humanly possible, I feel.
And that could, that could change, because quite often, there's a long-standing, I think it's a Twitter joke that, each week of a format is a new week. Like week 1 is this format is overpowered, and week 2 is it's too bomb heavy, and week 3 is it's the aggressive aggro is so good, and then there's the green is unplayable week, and it kind of happens. So it'd be interesting to see once a few weeks down the track if another broken deck hasn't come out.
I feel like just wait for the events, because I feel like the events is what tells you what's happening or how something's playing, and that's what I love is that I don't know, with the current deck, it has felt like it's kind of like or current set, it has felt like everyone's just played cycling and nothing else. Where I feel like with this one, I feel like people are going to play more and get to know more, and I feel like every set we may have something new and better to have a look at, and I'm kind of excited for that. So yeah, I'm excited because I feel like this could go there's just from what we're talking about now, it could go a couple of ways, and looks like there's a few decks that could be good, and I'm glad there's not just let's just find cycling again, yay.
Absolutely. I'm glad we haven't found a cycling deck yet, like a broken deck that is just you force it and win every time.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. Now, Futon, you had some thoughts before we were recording about M21 in general. Where are you at on the format as a whole?
I'm not super high on it. I prefer the more Ikoria style. I don't know. I like my big smashy monsters. I like my games to go a little bit later than how aggressive M21's been so far. So, I think it's personal preference though. I'm more of a I like my big smashy monsters, and Ikoria is just all about big smashy monsters,
For sure. You got a bit spoiled in the last set. I
bit.
think I'm... Because I've talked about this enough, but my default speed is fast, and this format should be a winner for me, and I think I just need to do it a little bit more. Obviously, you talked about it before. I'm going to try, getting more drafts in over the next week or two, and I think I'm going to try forcing aggro, because I am kind of at the point where, I'm first picking Rise Agains and other value cards, and that flying blue card, the Man of War. And I think we need to kind of, as a palette cleanser, move away from doing that. I don't know if that makes sense, and move back towards, at least for me, this is me personally, move towards being okay picking a 2-drop as the first pick, even if it's not the best, the most individually powerful card in the pack.
Yeah, I gotta admit though, I actually thought you'd be right up for this set, because you are just I want to win as little turns as possible and just come in and smash face. So that's why I'm kind of shocked you're not more excited about this. So
Yeah, I think it goes back to what I was talking about before. Like, I don't, interesting to see where I am with Magic, and hey, maybe we finish this podcast tonight. I'll go draft some aggro decks, and maybe I'll come back tomorrow and be like, oh my god, Des, look at these decks I drafted, and oh my god, I'm going to win every game in this format. I don't know. Hopefully, let's see what happens, right?
yeah, I mean for sure. Like I mean, that's the thing though. I feel like sometimes we do get in. Like, I mean, as some people know, I review board games and stuff, and there are times where I just get in a bit of a funk where I play 5 or 6 board games in a week, and I'm just like, nah, not feeling it. And then I come back to that game like a week later or 2 weeks later, and I'm like, this is the greatest game ever. And I think sometimes, yeah, we do get in a bit of a funk. And I think, yeah, I think it's been hard. Like you have had a little bit of a bad luck and a little bit of a bad run of late. So I can't imagine it's going to be long before you're like, yeah, let's do this again. I'm super happy. Or I get messages saying, what are you doing? Get on. I want to play. And I just, yeah, let's draft. Have you got any gems? I've used all of mine. I'm like, okay, settle down, bro. But like, yeah,
I never use all my gems.
I know, but I just feel like, yeah, I feel like maybe at the moment you're in a bit of a funk in regards to certain things, and I don't think it's going to be long before you come back and just go, yeah, this is cool. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those moments, as you said, you're a little bit burnt out or a little bit like frustrated or just want some time away. So we'll see what happens. I have a feeling that you'll come back next week, and if you've had a couple of good drafts, it's going to be a totally different story.
All right, well, we're getting close to the pointy end of the podcast. Before we move on to Des's dumb question, I want to remind listeners who happen to still be at this point that you can pick up Rather Be Drafting shirts over at merch.streamelements/MP numbers. It's a shirt that Des designed. I absolutely love it. It's not specifically tied to the podcast. It's just letting the world know that you, like us, would rather be drafting right now. Yeah, check it out. Obviously, reach out if you have any questions or any queries. But there's quite a range of colours and choices available over there if you want to tell the world. But on that note, Des, let's talk about last week's dumb question. We did ask last week, what reprint do we want to see in the next call set?
Wait. I've already seen the response, and Numbers before the podcast sent me a little tweet and just went, "Oh, no love for Des." And I'm like, yeah, I won't lie. I had the question, but I didn't have the answer that I didn't really think of the answer. I just kind of went, I'm going to ask this question, and then I'm like, oh wait, I've got to answer it too. So yes, I'm not surprised I got no love. So. Oops.
Yes, for the first time in 13 weeks, we have an answer on our poll that had 0 votes. Des did not even vote for his own answer.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
We asked what reprint would you really like to see in the next core set. 0% said Eye of Ugin, 18% had my answer of Doomblade, and Food Time with a smashing victory at 63%. Stoneforge Mystic is what the people want to see. I'm not surprised.
I know what the people want.
You do. Let's see if you can do it again this week. Des, what is your dumb question?
Okay, so this is going to be more commander based, just for Food Time.
Oh god.
Okay, so if you could make one card a commander that's not a commander, what would you like it to be?
Okay, cool. So there's a lot of correct answers, and the most correct answer is all of the mythic rare and numbers, you know what I'm talking about. All the mythic rare creatures from Fate Reforged that are monocolor with a hybrid ability that makes them 3-color. So you have like Soulfire Grandmaster and the Mardu one that's basically Hellrider with like a combat ability means your opponents can't block. It's so good. Those should all be legendary. Yeah, like there's a lot of answers for this one.
You gotta have one though.
If you have to give one answer for me to put in the poll, what's it gonna be?
Okay, well, there's so many answers though. That's not fair.
I know. This one was kind of like in my eyes, Numbers would just be like, oh, I don't know. I guess I like this card. I'll go with that. And then with Food Time, I'm like, this is gonna break him because he can't pick just one.
It's breaking me a little bit. Yeah.
Well, while food time goes, I'm going to give my classic answer that I give multiple times. It's going to be Hellrider. Like, Hellrider is the best Magic card ever printed. Two red for a 3/3 with haste. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it deals 1 damage to target the player that it's attacking.
Okay.
Like, yep, best card ever. Make it a commander. Make it a legendary. Go.
Hear me out. Brutal Horde Chief is just that, but better.
Okay, but that's fine. But I want Hellrider.
Okay, that's fair. You know what? That's fair. I can't argue with that. Okay, so God, I don't know. I guess I'd say Soulfire Grandmaster because it's like the other best one of that cycle, and those two are like both in the same cycle. Soulfire Grandmaster is 1 and a white for a 2/2 with lifelink. Instant and sorcery spells you control have lifelink. 2 and either blue red, so for 4 mana total. The next time you cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand this turn, put that card into your hand instead of into your graveyard as it resolves. So basically, you can cast an overloaded Cyclonic Rift over and over and over and over again. And all of your opponents will just friggin' hate you. It'll be great. No, yeah, that card's super sweet. The other correct answer that should, if we want to, people want to, reply in the poll on Twitter is any of the Nephilim from the original Ravnica block.
Cool.
I knew you'd have fun with this one, and I knew that it would break you.
Alright, Desmond, what was your answer?
I kind of wanted this card because I just thought it'd be fun, and this card was... this question was based because I really wanted to have this card. Was that, what was it, Brash Taunter? The one from the new set, the one that's indestructible, and whenever it is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to target creature. And then it says, for 2 and a red, it fights another target creature, which means I can just go, oh, you've got that 15/15. I'm going to get this to attack this and do 15 commander damage. That was...
Oh, man.
So I kind of asked that question just because of this.
The commander damage, again, is only combat damage.
Yeah, but you're fighting another... Aww. Well, that's what I picked.
His ability is his ability. Yeah, no, that's still a good choice. Because the perfect deck for a Brash Taunter commander is Brash Taunter and 99 Mountains, and you'll probably still win some games.
I could probably afford to make that one, actually.
There you go.
I was going to say, food time, like, are there any indestructible commanders, and 2, would an indestructible commander be bad? Because I mean, an average commander deck's going to have enough ways to deal with other than just destroy, right?
Yeah. There's legendary destructible cards.
Oh, there is? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
The best removal in commander is all like exiled or like shuffle into library or whatever. Yeah. Like, okay, every Theros god.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, every Theros got all 20 of them now. Alright, cool. Well, as always, guys, there will be a poll, twitter.com/numbers_MTG. You'll be able to find over there, vote for our answers or reply and enjoy the conversation. But that will do us again for this week. I'm going to go do some drafting. I've been MP Numbers. You can find me on facebook.com/MP Numbers. Twitter, you can search MP Numbers. We have the Twitch channel, but I don't know what I'm doing with it. Got the YouTube channel, but I don't know what I'm doing with it. But you can find me in all those kind of places. Say hi, of course. I'll be there. I'll be around. Food time, where are you?
Twitch.tv/foodtime. Twitter @foodtimegaming. And then everything else you can find through those two. Those are the 2 important ones. Go there.
Awesome. And Des, where are you?
So you can find me on DerekMags81 on Twitter. You could also find my website at desdoes.com. And I stream Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday on twitch.tv/DesNato. I don't do Magic, unfortunately, but I do a little bit of World of Warcraft. So come join my chubby fat panda and me on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Perfect. All right, guys, let's call it a show. Thank you for chatting with me. Let's do it again sometime.
For sure.
Bye.
Layers.